You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR. KSMR, real college radio. Welcome to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi. I'm joined here with Andy Alleman filling in for our normal producer, Alec Rude. We're broadcasting on two radio frequencies in Winona, 92.5 and 94.3 FM every Sunday from 11 to 1. We're also live streaming on YouTube under the channel name Anthony Pasquazi, Pasqueesi. Be sure to like and subscribe if you are watching us on there. Also, feel free to join the conversation through the chat function of that YouTube live stream. You can follow the show on Twitter at The Squeeze and the number 4 at The Squeeze 4. You can follow Andy at Andy Alleman and myself at _Anthony Pass with one S. As always, we love to take your calls. Our phone number is 507-457-1615. And today, if you see me on that YouTube live stream, I am wearing the much talked about black Squeeze t-shirt. So today is the day that you get to win one of these Squeeze t-shirts on the 16-second squeeze. The 16-second squeeze. How does it work, Andy? Well, you call in, you go up against a recording, or in this case, you go up against our producer, Andy Alleman, in a quick thinking trivia game where you name as many of a category as you can. Every show has up to 3 caller contestants, and the one with the largest margin of victory over their respective recording wins that Squeeze t-shirt.
I will say, guys, the white was OG, but the black, the YouTube channel does not do it justice. The black is sharp.
It is
so sharp.
It is very sharp. And right now, nobody owns this black Squeeze t-shirt except me and Andy. I guess I gave it to him. He finally got his Squeeze t-shirt, but
the co-producers own it. No one else.
Nobody else. 507-457-1615. Because this is such a special occasion that it's a new black Squeeze t-shirt, we're going to take as many 16-second squeezes as possible today. 507-457-1615. That might be 0, like sometimes it is, but it also might be 8. I don't know. 507-457-1615 for your chance to win this Squeeze t-shirt. It feels good to be in it. I wore it yesterday. I did the PA announcing for the softball game, and I layered up, of course, and then put this on top of my hoodie. Felt like a little bit of a goober, but I was super excited to put this thing on.
Hey, let's go. Let's get those calls in.
Yeah, and then so yesterday actually was quite a busy day. I'm a little tired because I woke up yesterday morning at around 6 o'clock. And why did I do that? Not to go to a track meet, which I wish we would have done, but to drive all the way to Madison. I went all the way to Madison.
Why did you go to Madison?
Why did I go to Madison? Well, my dad and I were going to meet at the meet this weekend, and he was going to give me these black Squeeze t-shirts that he so graciously picked up and paid for, I might add. So thank you, Dad. Shout out.
Shout out, Scott.
Absolutely. But we decided to meet at a Chipotle in Madison. I thought that it was going to be a Chipotle that I had been to X amount of times before, right off of I-90, but instead I picked one that was smack dab in the middle of downtown Madison. So instead of a nice quick drop off, we were playing Ring Around the Rosie around the two lakes.
Of course you picked the Chipotle.
Yeah. Oh, of course. I mean, that's the one landmarker that I knew because I thought it was going to be the one that I always go to. And of course it wasn't. And then picked him up, said hi to my dad for about 3 minutes, had to turn around, get quick back to St. Mary's to do that PA announcing. And on my way back, I have a little question for you. I got extremely cut off, just like in La Crosse, right around that La Crosse crossing on I-90.
Okay.
Totally cut off. I mean, he was just drifting over into my lane. I honked at him about 7 times. I saw him the whole way. I was in no danger. But it was pretty crazy. He didn't use a signal, and he just kept going. Luckily, I saw him, or else it could have been pretty bad. And I honked at him, as one would do.
Yep.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
When you get honked at, if you do something stupid, which inevitably we all do something stupid when we're driving. It's
Absolutely.
just, like I said, it's inevitable.
Yep.
Are you one of those people that'll look at the person that you just PO'd and kind of wave at them, say sorry? Or are you the person to put your head down and just try to ignore the fact that you just did that?
I bite the bullet. I just go by. I just don't make eye contact.
Yeah, really?
For me.
Okay, well, I'm the opposite. This dude was that. He was a middle-aged man. He was wearing a Brewers hat, so already, we wouldn't like each other. Wearing a Brewers hat, and I pass him by. He gets in the right lane, thankfully, and I pass him by, and he's just looking down the whole time, trying to avoid eye contact. I looked at him for about 2 seconds, and then went on my merry way. But I'm more of a own up to it guy. I'd
Yeah.
rather wave in the window, say, sorry, I know I'm an idiot, than ignore it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We all have our preferences.
Yeah, exactly.
We can say, though, we're not as bad as Minnesota drivers.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
That's a fact.
There's something about Minnesota drivers. I don't get it. I drive for Uber in Chicago. It's a lot different there than it is here. In Minnesota, you will wait an average of 3 seconds at a green light,
Yep.
which doesn't sound like anything. But trust me, when you're waiting there at a green light for 3 whole seconds, it drives you nuts. And everybody here in Winona does it.
Yeah. I mean, when I was driving back to get my permit when I was 16, it was even commented then. So it's just been a thing that Minnesota drivers are just not the best.
They're really not the best. But you know what is the best?
What's that?
Our assistant basketball coach, Kyle Brown. He's coming in at 11:35. Then Kyle Lichtenegger, our teammate and multi-time squeeze appearance guy. I don't know where that was going. He's coming in at 12:17. And then we are doing another draft. Last week's draft, we did sports cities, and I absolutely kicked your butt.
Looking for redemption this week.
Absolutely. 24 votes were cast. I won 83% of the votes.
Do the math. That's
20.
7. That's 20.
20.
Okay,
I got
there
20,
you go.
20 of those votes. So today we're doing one that might cause some controversy here on the St. Mary's campus. We don't know how many people are listening, but if people are listening, we're drafting the St. Mary's sports team. So it might get chippy in here.
Looking for redemption. That's all I got to say.
Okay, we'll see. I mean, we're going to go 4 rounds deep, and there are more than 8 teams on campus. So somebody's going to be mad at us.
So be it.
Okay, that's at 12:35, that Smooth Sports team draft. Andy, I talked a little bit about my day yesterday. I've been also watching a lot of Cubs baseball. It was tough last night. We'll talk about that later, I promise.
Yes.
How was your weekend?
Nothing to note. Did some homework. Went out last night. Woke up. Do the squeeze. Do some more homework. Just
Awesome.
a lay low weekend.
Yeah. Well, that weekend was kicked off with the news of a Jordan Howard trade. I believe that came in on Thursday. And as I do almost every day, I went down to the track coaches' offices. And they got a little cubby down there. It's a lot nicer than last year because it was just inconvenient to go all the way up there.
It's just a nice little setup.
Yeah, I love it. And they're all in there. So even if Niels is busy, you can, go over, talk to Coach
Talk
Cody.
to Cody, talk to Nick.
Absolutely. So I went down there, and the first thing Cody says is, "Oh, what, are you just giving away your players for free? I mean, what are you doing here?" I'm like, well, first of all, I'm not Ryan Pace. But then I said, look, Cody Michaels, I want you and everybody else who thinks that Jordan Howard is a great quarterback,
Running back.
great running back, to sit down and watch the squeeze this weekend. Because I'm telling you, Andy, although he, before last season, was the second leading rusher behind only Todd Gurley in his first 2 seasons, how many wins did the Bears have in those 2 seasons?
Well, you went 12-4?
In the first 2 seasons.
Oh, in the first
They
two.
won 7 games between the 2 seasons. So
yikes.
you're telling me that he was a great running back on a terrible team. Do you know what that tells me?
What's that?
That's a guy getting garbage points when his team has nothing else to do. He had no quarterback. There was no wide receiving core. There was no offense. He was the offense. You know what the offense was? Hand it to Jordan Howard every single play and watch him run. Last season, the Bears finally got a great coach, Coach Matt Nagy. They finally have a good quarterback, Mitch Trubisky. And they have a great team, and they have a not so great offense yet, but they got a legitimate NFL offense with a system and a plan every single time on the field, something that they were lacking under Coach John Fox. So instead of the offense simply being hand the ball off to Jordan Howard and watch him do what he does, it was taken out of his hands. It was taken out of his hands a lot. He only had 250 rushes. That was 26 less than the season before. And the big number to me is his average rushes his average yards per carry, down to 3.7 yards per carry. So all these people telling me that, all they got was a 5th, 6th rounder for him, they could have gotten a 3rd rounder. Are you kidding me? You got to look at it. You got to look at it. You're not when you're trading draft picks, you have to see what you're going to get for that draft pick or what the team you're trading is going to get for that draft pick. If you drafted Jordan Howard in the 3rd round, he would be considered a bust. If you draft a running back in the 3rd round, he has to be great. He can't be good. He has to be a game changer. If he's in the first, second, or third round, that running back it's a risk. Fourth, fifth, sixth round, you pick a running back there.
Yep.
If he busts out, it's not that big of a deal. But if you take a third round draft pick and use it for a running back, that running back needs to be great. Jordan Howard is not great. He's good. He was a sixth round draft pick when he was drafted by the Bears. That's exactly what they got for him. They did fine. Ryan Pace did fine. I just want to point out one more thing before I let you talk, Andy, because I just love to talk. They signed Mike Davis, career third, second stringer on multiple teams. His career yards per carry, 3.7. Jordan Howard last year, 3.7 yards per carry. They're going to be fine, Bears fans. Jordan Howard is not Walter Payton. He's not Gale Sayers. And he sure as hell is not Saquon Barkley. So give it up. It's fine. All you were going to get for him was a fifth or sixth round pick. You were not going to get a third round pick. I heard somebody, we were doing the official scoring in the PA box yesterday. And one of the kids in there said that they could have gotten a second round pick for him. And I immediately just kind of stopped talking because I didn't want to embarrass him. But trust me, Bears did fine. I don't know what you're going to say, but
what I think is that it seems like it's kind of, I feel like it's halfway in between. Like he just didn't fit Matt Nagy's offense.
Not at all.
And he goes to Philadelphia. Maybe they utilize him differently, and maybe they'll be more successful. I don't really know. I don't really know what kind of offense that you guys run compared to Philadelphia. I don't know what the zone, if it's a zone blocking scheme versus, I'm just not sure. So I think that maybe it was a fresh start for everyone, and he'll do well.
Both offenses are run-pass option offenses.
Yep.
Last year, under center, when the Bears were under center, they ran the ball 77% of the time. That led the NFL. And you know who was the recipient of those carries? It was Jordan Howard. So Matt Nagy did not know how to use Jordan Howard. Like you just said, maybe Doug Peterson does know how to use Jordan Howard, and that's why he traded for him. But you know what? The fact that they signed Mike Davis, the fact that they're going to draft a running back undoubtedly means that Matt Nagy is going to get the running back that he needs for his system. That's going to be good for him. That's going to be good for him. That's going to be good for me, and that's going to be good for the Bears.
I wouldn't be worried.
Not at all. The fact that we're even kind of talking about it is a little nuts because Jordan Howard is just a guy. That's all he is. He's just a guy. He was the best player on two really bad teams. He was great in fantasy for 2 seasons, but he's just a guy. That's all he is.
That's it. That's all he is.
Okay. Normally, Alec Rude is sitting in that producer's chair right there, and he gives us a weekly Rude thought. But Andy Alleman is sitting in Andy Alleman is sitting in that chair next to me. So, Andy, what is this week's Rude thought?
At the Texas Relays, which for people out there that don't know is kind of a prestigious track and field meet where I believe it's high school track and field in Texas is big. And then they go division by division. This week at the Texas Relays, it was the Houston 4x1 versus the LSU 4x1, and that's really as good as it gets. Those two teams are outstanding. They're going to be competing for a national title in that event. And I believe the anchor for LSU ended up winning the race by 0.04 of a second, and he turned around and he gave a little bit of a taunt to the Houston anchor. And I thought it was very intriguing. I thought that we need more of that in track and field. It doesn't feel like you have that tense competitive edge. It feels like everyone's buddy. And I get it. When we go to meets, it's D3. People don't get crazy competitive about it, but I like to see it. It's a nice change up. I want to see a competitive edge. I want to see more. I want to see it to be more tense, and I don't know. I don't mind a bit of jawing.
No, absolutely. I think trash talk is one of the best things that there are in sports. My dad would disagree. He hates trash talk, and most middle-aged white men do.
Yeah.
They don't like trash talk. But you know what? I love it, and maybe I'll start trash talking.
I just like the competitive edge.
Absolutely.
I think it brings out the best in people sometimes. So
I think it does too. And I mean, you said it yourself. At track meets, there's not a lot, even at D1. I mean, high school competitive, at all track meets. Most of the competitors are either very quiet and they stick to themselves, or they're totally buddy with each other, because track has this, it's a really good culture. Don't get me wrong. It has this awesome culture, pole vault especially, of all of the athletes working together to help each other and to push each other, because it's an individual sport and it lacks that team element, which is a lot of the times where trash talk comes from, is from, hyping up the boys. I think because it's so individual that we're all kind of on our own. We all understand the situation that every other athlete is going through.
Yep.
So it's just hard to trash talk sometimes because you see these guys so often, practically every weekend.
Yeah, and like you said, the buddy thing is so big these days. I know I got a couple friends in the St. Thomas team, and they're hated by everyone in the conference. And I don't know, it's just, you can't just get up in your friend's face as much as you probably want to because they're kicking your butt at the conference meet. But it is what it is. So
yeah, absolutely. So we are going to take it to break here. Coming up after that break, I'm going to let you know how the softball team did yesterday while hearing my beautiful voice echo over the speaker system. We're also going to talk about baseball. We're going to give you a little reset, tell you how they rank within the MIAC as today does begin MIAC play. They're at St. John's. We're also going to do a senior spotlight on pitcher Eli Morrison, the little left-hander. He's had a very good career. We're going to talk about that in just a moment coming up after the break. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. Let's go, guys. Black Squeeze t-shirts. There's a lot on the line here today. 507-457-1615. What is the best way to gear up for your townie this year? How about a night of running, dancing, and partying with DJ Charco? That is exactly what Light Up the Night 3K on Friday, April 26th is. A night to exercise with friends and support your fellow students. The event is free to St. Mary's students, and the run starts at 8 p.m., followed by a 9 p.m. DJ Charco concert. Dance yourself into townie during this incredible event. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi, produced by Alec Rude. Normally, Andy Alleman sitting in today on KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR. KSMR, real college radio. No 16-second squeeze contestants at the moment. That number is 507-457-1615. I guess everybody's just afraid of you, Andy.
they should be.
They should be afraid of you. You won last week. I think
Pretty
you had
handily.
a +3 on the college basketball teams.
Bring it on, guys. Let's go.
Yesterday was a chilly day here at St. Mary's, but the softball team played anyways. The baseball team couldn't play on Saturday. St. John's, it's too cold. It's too cold. We don't want to play. So their game got moved to today, which is kind of a bummer because we were going to talk to Tyler Stilp here in studio, one of our buddies. He's a great relief pitcher. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But first, we're going to talk about that St. Mary's softball team. They did end up winning their first game. Amber Chow got the win. They won that one 5-4, a come-from-behind win. Gustavus got out to a quick 1-run lead. St. Mary's answered in the bottom of the fourth and never looked back. Hallie Schmeling, she's great on defense, had a couple of web gems at shortstop, but
She's a stud.
she is quite the stud. But the true stud of yesterday was Justine Schultz. My gosh, for the day, she went 3 of 7, 2 doubles, and 4 RBIs. And I'm telling you, even the outs that she made, every single one, incredible exit velocity. She hammered the ball yesterday. She was definitely seeing the ball well. Amber Chow pitched 7 innings, 3 earned runs, 3 strikeouts. She did hit a batter, and she did end up getting the win, only giving up 6 hits. Did allow 4 runs, 2 of which were unearned. That's something that they need to work on.
It is what it is.
I know you said they have a young team, but man, some of those plays were quite ugly. I just remember a few. There was one right to Ronnie Stevens. It was a pop fly. Almost could have been an infield fly roll. She let it go right through her glove.
Really?
Hallie Schmeling did have a few errors overthrowing the first baseman, and it's tough when you have a team that is that young, and especially when they don't have a very good facility to practice in most of the time.
You know, they'll get there. They're a young team, like I said. It's a bunch of sophomores and freshmen basically just kind of working. Only have one senior on the team that's graduating, so I would give them a year or 2. They're also missing Shaylee Vassell. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She was a starter last year as well as a freshman, but she tore ACL playing basketball, and she'll be back next year.
Well, the sophomore standout for the Gusties yesterday was Ashley Neuenfeld. She did start that first game. She went 3 1/3, 2 hits, 2 runs, 0 earned runs, 3 walks, though, and she was quickly relieved by her teammate Allie Freeman. But after she was relieved, she wasn't done. No, she hit a bomb to left field. My gosh, it made it into the track pavilion. It went over the softball fence, and then it went over the track fence. It was in the track. It was not in the track, but it was in the grandstand where the grandstand would be.
Really?
Yeah, she hit that thing maybe 350 feet.
Oh my
just
goodness.
Straight away left field. And then she wasn't done, because in game 2, a game that the Gusties did win, she got the win. She went all 7 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, 2 earned of those 5 runs, and all 5 of those runs came in the first inning. You looked at Ashley Neuenfeld and said, man, we're going to get her out of this game. She's their best pitcher, and we got her for 5 runs. Well, she buckled down, did not allow a single run for the rest of the game, and the Gusties ended up coming from behind, winning the game 7-5 behind 2 more home runs, one by Allie Freeman and the other by the catcher Kenzie Scusa. Man, Amber Trendle gave up both of those home runs, both of them to straightaway center field. They saw her very well yesterday. And I have not seen 3 home runs in a doubleheader of D3 baseball or softball ever. And I saw them yesterday. The sound is just different. And where I was in the PA box, I couldn't see center field, right field, anything. So I saw it off the bat. And I'm like, that's gone. That's absolutely gone. Just torched it. So that's a 1-1 split for the St. Mary's Cardinals, their opener in the MIAC. Couldn't get that second win against the Gusties. Right. Things were looking good. They are back out there in just a couple hours, an hour and a half. They will be going up against St. Olaf for another doubleheader here at St. Mary's. I said a couple weeks ago, I think it might have been last week, that this team is not going to do much this year. Don't look for them to do much this year. Don't set very high expectations. But a team that you can set high expectations for is the baseball team, not the men's baseball team, just the baseball team. There's no women's baseball team. That's called softball. They won. They had a split against St. Scholastica on Thursday. We're not going to talk about the 12-4 loss, but we are going to look at that 4-1 victory. Who got the win? Eli Morrison, the guy that we're going to talk about in just a moment, got the win. He now has a record of 2 wins, 1 loss. He went 5 innings, gave up 2 hits, 1 earned run, 2 strikeouts, no walks. Very important for him. There was a lot of curveballs. When he can get the ball in the strike zone, good things happen for this team. Tyler Silp came out of the pen 2/3, no hits, no walks, nothing. Every time I see him in class, I ask him, Tyler, did you walk anybody? And for this season, he hasn't walked very many batters. In 12 innings, he's only given up 3 walks. And here's a fun little statistic. In his last 4 appearances, good for 7 innings, he has yet to give up a single earned run in those 4 appearances.
There you go.
Only 5 hits. He is a right-handed submarine pitcher, a great look out of the bullpen. And the other guy, the man, Cody Keel. Have you heard of this guy?
Oh, yeah.
Cody Keel, sophomore. He's our closer. You have Tyler Stilp coming in as the setup guy, a crazy look, submarine pitcher, hard to hit as long as he's in the strike zone. And then you send in Cody Keel, the guy with that nice fastball. He's the closer. And he's been dang near perfect this season. He has a .93 ERA in 9 2/3 innings. He's only given up 10 hits. He's walked 4. He has struck out 11 in 9 2/3 innings. And he's only given up 1 run all season long. He hasn't walked anybody in his last 2 appearances. He's only given up 1 hit. Things are looking very good for that bullpen. You have the front end rotation: James Green, Ryan Wolf, occasionally Eli Morrison,
John Szymanski
as well. And then you have this bullpen back of the bullpen: Tyler Stilp and Cody Keel.
Our pitching is our strength on this team.
Absolutely.
They do that. They love to play defense. They got a lot of really good infielders and outfielders. They play to their strengths. They know how to do that.
And it's crazy because you say pitching is the strength of this team, but they hit the dang ball too. Matthew Pachowski is 3rd in the MIAC in batting average, a crazy .448 batting average through 16 games this season. If he can keep that up, man.
I don't think so, but I mean, if he can at least hold up in that top 5, I think he would be sitting pretty well.
Oh, absolutely. He's also 5th in the MIAC in RBIs with 16. His teammate Andy Tepp is above him with 17. And then Will Matthews is leading the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference with 18 RBIs through 16 games. James Green is 5th in the MIAC in ERA, 2.45, and that's high for James Green. I mean, if you're going to ask me, don't expect him to be giving up any runs anytime soon because he doesn't like that ERA. I would like that ERA. I think you would like that ERA, but he is not pleased with that one bit. Home runs, not a lot of power on this team. Matthew Pachowski is the only guy who has hit the ball out. But, I mean, in the MIAC, there's only 2 guys with 2 home runs. So, like I said, it's very rare to see home runs going out of the park like we did yesterday for that softball doubleheader. Stolen bases, Matthew Pachowski. Man, he's looking like Mike Trout. He's 2nd in the MIAC in stolen bases. And then Jimmer is leading the league in strikeouts with 29. Cody Keel leading the league as well in saves. Things looking pretty good for this baseball team early in the season.
Well, this is going to be a really good test for them because St. John's is number 20 in the nation in baseball. So if they could get a split today, I think they would be pretty ecstatic about that.
Yeah, that's what's great about hockey and baseball is when you go up against these marquee matchups, these teams that are nationally ranked that you're not supposed to beat. No one expects you to go 2-0 on them. All you need to do, come out of there with 1 win and then beat the teams you should beat, something that we will be talking to Kyle Brown about in just about 7 minutes coming up after the break. Beat the teams you should beat and then split with the teams that you shouldn't beat. That's how every coach attacks it.
You make the MIAC playoffs, anything can happen.
Absolutely, and only 4 teams make the MIAC playoffs this year. Yeah, not 6. They're bringing it down to 4.
They trimmed it, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So it's going to be tough.
Competitive field.
Yeah, absolutely. I do believe they were ranked 5th. They were ranked 5th in the preseason MIAC poll. It's one spot out of the playoffs, but talk to the basketball team and ask them what they think about preseason.
I have confidence they'll outlive that expectation. Outgrow it.
No, I do too. I this is the team to watch this spring. There aren't that many teams to watch. Track is one of them, but they are the team that has the best chance of making the playoffs. They're the team that's going to be the most fun to watch. So make sure when they come to St. Mary's, you go out there and watch them, please.
Absolutely.
Come on, St. Mary's community. It's never a good feeling.
They do a good job. Hey, their attendance isn't bad.
Yeah, no,
they do a good job.
Sure. I mean, it's who doesn't like being outside when it's super nice out?
Yeah,
50, 60, 70 degrees and sunny. I was just thinking about that yesterday watching the softball games. What do you think other athletes from other MIAC schools, what do you think they think about when they come here? Like, just give me what you would think about if you didn't go here.
Facilities are okay. I won't lie. They're average to below average, but I think the quality of teams is something it's a little better for our athletic program. That's what I think. I mean, you got the basketball teams that are consistently, the men's team has had some rough times, but the women's team is consistently getting up there. Our gym, not the nicest, to be honest. And the baseball team, they have a field, but it's got like two small bleachers.
Yeah, three.
And then the softball team's got a few, but I think we're a feisty program that, is what it is.
Yeah, we're not the greatest athletic program yet. We're getting there.
We'll be there.
We're trending upwards, as we like to say.
We're underrated.
Yeah, we are underrated. But what I was thinking is, if I'm a St. Mary's athlete and I'm going to any MIAC school to compete, it's all in the Twin Cities. It's pretty much all in the Twin Cities. St. Olaf is a little bit, off the beaten path.
St. Olaf has some good facilities.
They have some awesome facilities, but it's just kind of boring. It's basically cornfields and nothing else.
The views are beautiful, yes. If you're implying that,
you come here, all these teams that come from the Twin Cities, they drive 2.5 hours to get down here. They drive straight south, basically on the Mississippi, in the bluffs. You're standing at home plate on the baseball field or on the softball field, and you're looking at nothing but panoramic, scenic, gorgeous views.
Yeah.
When the trees start to turn green, man, there's nothing that beats it.
Or when it starts to turn fall and it's all different colors, beautiful as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I'm on the track practicing, sometimes I'll just look up the bluffs and be like, man, we're lucky. We're lucky to have a track that's smack dab in the middle of one of the most beautiful areas in Minnesota.
We are very lucky. And it's just something when you look at our facilities and you tell yourself, man, I wish I would have gone somewhere else because this weight room is way too small and the rack kind of hurts my shins. And then you just look at that and you realize that you're walking outside in nature and everything's super close and the campus is practically closed off to the outside world. There's a lot of perks about going to St. Mary's.
It is nice when Matt Sager takes teams out at 6:30 in the morning. He has them actually running a hill that's in the bluffs. That's pretty unique as well, I would think.
Yeah, for sure. And the cross country meet. I mean, we could go on and on, but we are going to have to go to break here soon. We have Coach Brown waiting in the hallway. So we're going to take it to break here. We are going to move back the senior spotlight on Eli Morrison. We talked a little bit too much about the beautiful bluffs, but that's okay.
It is what it is.
507-457-1615 is the phone number. Coming up after the break, Coach Kyle Brown. He's one of the smartest coaches here at St. Mary's. And I love sitting next to him when he's on the bench and I'm doing the play-by-play for the games, just to hear all, run through his sets, run through his subs, who has who, matchups. He's a really bright guy, and I'm excited to talk about him. Talk with him. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. Come on, guys. Nobody's tried to win one yet. You're going to be the first person to win a black Squeeze t-shirt. 507-457-1615. We will be right back.
had guys that were just willing to accept what they were. Like Brad Hill had the greatest second half of a senior season I've ever seen from where he was, and I think that's just indicative of everything we were doing, building that culture this year and kind of the jumping board for going forward.
So, I mean, you had a great season. It's hard to say that you had a great season when you only won 7 games, but compared to the season before and just to see the growth of all those freshmen, all those sophomores, I mean, Eli Cave is only going to be a junior next year, and he's your best player. What do you think you need to work on if you guys want to take it to that next level, that next playoff spot, a 6th seed in the MIAC? What do you guys need to do to get there?
Biggest thing we've talked to our guys about has been strength, getting bigger and stronger. We have a lot of long guys that could put on some muscle, so that they're, hopefully doing that with Coach Sager right now, which I think they are. And then on the basketball court, the biggest thing is probably for us to take that next big jump is we got to get better defensively. Our field goal percentage defense went down like 4% from last year, which was a good jump. But for us to really be really, really good, we probably need to make another jump like that. And I think that was a change for the guys, is just being held accountable on that end, which is not always easy because everyone wants to score. And then, we had some matchup issues at times, but for the most part, it was never an effort thing. It was just, just learning our system, being, okay, this is where we need to be, and it becoming second nature. So that's a big thing. And then I think our talent-wise, I think our guys are just going to grow and develop, and I like our core that we're returning. We got a guy back from injury for next year that as a freshman probably could have played, and then just adding the right pieces to kind of finalize this group for next season.
Is it fair to say that you are the defensive coordinator of the team?
Yes, it is. Second half of the year, the title was a little debatable. But no, it was. I was pretty much, that was my responsibility, my baby. Coach Fano does such a good job on the offensive end, and putting in motion as a new offense is honestly one of the hardest things you can do as a coach. So he had kind of his hands full, and then at the second half of the year, it was more just, I think what I do really well is defensive matchups, like scouting report stuff, and then that's kind of what we had to focus on second half of the year. And so I think if you want to say that's a defensive coordinator, that's what I was doing.
Yeah, and I said it earlier before we went to break that I hear you just yelling the matchups every time somebody's going on court. Sawyer, you got 26, and Freetley, you got 35. Who's your best perimeter defender, and who's your best interior defender?
I would say our best perimeter defender is probably David Lindstrand. He was a kid that we put him on the best player on the wing almost every time. Like, he guarded Charbonneau from Gustavus twice really well. He guarded Anders Nelson the first time we played St. Thomas, really well. And the second time, he's just got a knack, and he's always been like that, like where he's just been very good defensively, and just, he's one of those guys that we kind of give freedom to. Like, he knows when to chase guys off screens, when he can try to shortcut a screen. He just has that knack. And, I kind of told him, I'm like, we have these rules, and this is what we're trying to get you to do, but you just got to play your game and kind of do that. And then inside interior defender, I would say, well, Sawyer kind of had the role of having to guard a lot on the inside, and I don't know if that's real fair to him. Caden did a really good job on a couple big kids. We made him the primary defender on Henningfield from McAllister the second time we played. He did a really good job on Melo from Gustavus. Luckily, now the way basketball is going, you don't need that big 6'9", 6'10" guy anymore, and there was really only 3 teams in our league that had that type of guy. So we can get away with having Sawyer or having Caden or, Chilson, any of those guys being able to defend that. So I think all of them did a decent job for what we asked them to do.
So you said, positionless basketball is basically what we're moving to. And I think the St. Mary's Cardinals have a positionless team. You got Eli Cave, Caden Freetley, Jacob Chilson, Sawyer Roser. They're all practically the same height, within 3 inches.
Long.
They're all long. They can all shoot the basketball. Have you ever thought, as the defensive coordinator, because of that length, moving to a zone?
Well, we did run a zone about 90 possessions this year, 100 possessions. We were like 80th percentile on synergy, or something like that, which is really good. Our zone was very good, very effective, especially the first half of the year. But it basically won us the Concordia game at home, and then Gustavus, and we used it a couple other times. At La Crosse, we lost, but we literally put the zone in that morning, and then that afternoon we were running it, and it looked like we were Syracuse. Like, it was kind of part of it. It's early in the year, and the other team doesn't have a zone offense, and they hadn't seen it on film. But I think that was really good for us, and like because of our length and what we have, we have a lot of guys that can move and kind of get hands on in passing lanes and stuff. And I thought that was really good for us in a lot of ways, and probably something we'll keep. I don't know if we'll keep the exact zone, but it's something I've been studying a lot since the season ended. Watching, St. Bonaventure is the one where I got that, and then watching a lot of their film and trying to get videos and stuff as much as I can. So I would guess we'll build on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Alec and I went to the lacrosse game, and that was awesome to see. Lacrosse made the tournament this year.
Yep.
They ended up losing to St. Thomas in the first round, and you played them very well. Is that something that, as a coach, you let your athletes take solace in? We played these nationally ranked teams to under 10 points.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a hard balance because it's, are you okay with moral victories, more or less? And, for me, my big thing is I just want to play well. Like, I want us to play as hard as we can, share the ball, do the things that coach wants them to do. And if we do that, I can kind of live with the result. And not to say I like losing, because losing's not fun for anybody and winning's a lot more fun. But kind of in the back of your head, you're always like, well, we did everything we could. Like the last 5 or 6 games of the year, like we did everything we could with our group. Like we could have made a shot here or got a stop there or a ref call here or whatever. But like really looking back at it, our guys were completely bought into what we were doing. They're playing together. They were sharing the ball. They played so hard, and we just didn't quite have enough at the end. But we were in a situation where to win the game, you got to be in the game. And now, like the year before, we were minus 500 or whatever for the year, felt like $1 million. We were at least in the game and we were playing well. And like, okay, now we're there. So now what's the next step? And now as we go forward next year, it's like, well, it's not just good enough to be in the game. Now we got to win these games. And we're going to finally have an old group. We're going to have seniors and juniors. We're going to have sophomores that played. So it's going to be way different, I think.
Yeah, and looking forward to next year, you are a great recruiter. A lot of the reasons why this team looks the way it does is because of you. How's the recruiting class looking for next year?
I need to hire you as my agent. Like, you call me smart going into the break, and now you said I'm a great recruiter. You're hired. I like where our recruiting class is at. I think, obviously can't really get real specific with it. With the coaching change when it was really hard, I think, for recruiting. Just kids don't like change. They want to know, and now kids decide so much earlier. So it was tough, like early on. And I think the thing that Coach Fano and I have done is we didn't really give up on the class. We kind of kept trying. We turned over every stone we could, and we put ourselves in position. We have some committed guys right now that are good high school players, and then just trying to finish up this class with some guys that can fill in the needs that we need with this group, which is really nice because in years past we were taking everybody. Like we were, oh, you want to come play basketball and you're decent? Okay, well come and try. Like, and now we're turning kids away that could probably not help us, but could probably at least be on the roster. And we're like, well, we just need this. We could be really specific with what we need, which is totally different than anything I've done before.
Yeah, it's a great place to be. And then even just from within, if Caden Freetley puts on that extra 15 pounds of muscle, if Eli Cave learns to play a little bit of defense, next year we're talking a playoff team. I mean, do you agree with that?
I hope you're right. I mean, that's kind of the goal for our guys, and do something that's never been done for the men's basketball program here. They talk about it every day. And, like I've told them before, we can't just talk. We can't just show up on October 15th and say, hey, we're going to be in the playoffs this year, because it doesn't work like that. The MIAC's good. Like every team in our league is good. Like we were, technically the worst team in the league with McAllister. But as everyone that watches MIAC basketball is like, well, there's no bottom anymore. Like every night in the MIAC and for men's basketball is just a complete war. Like it's just crazy. Like, and it's something that I tell our guys every day. That's what we do now. Like, are we working on our game? Are we shooting? Are we able to get in and get extra lifts? Are we, what are we doing now that's going to set us apart from those guys? Because that's our goal. That's what we want to do. And I think with this group, we have enough talent. We have enough guys that know what they're doing that shouldn't just be our only goal. Like, I think we can do more than just make the playoffs. And I think our guys kind of are buying into that, which is good. And it's fun to see because it's a completely different feel this offseason.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for joining us. You're a great follow on Twitter at Coach Kyle Brown, I believe, right?
Yep, nice and simple.
Yeah, at Coach Kyle Brown. You said before the interview started that you're not really a fan of programs, but more a fan of coaches. Why is that? And maybe tell us a couple of your favorite coaches.
I think the biggest, I just enjoy watching the games. Like when Bo Ryan was at Wisconsin and they were I was kind of rooting for a program then. But for me, I really respect coaches, and there's guys that, I kind of picked my bracket this year on guys I wanted to see win, which is kind of nerdy. But guys that I thought were just good guys, good people in the profession, and like Chris Beard right now, what he's doing is awesome because he's had a crazy career and he's been an ABA coach. He's coached D3, D2. He's just kind of grinded to where he is now, and he's at a tough place to win, and he's doing it. Some of my other favorite coaches, I always root for Beeline at Michigan. I think he's the GOAT. He's so good. Tony Bennett, my first 5 years, I worked for a guy named Gary Gresh who played for Coach Dick Bennett at Green Bay. And then so I've been able to meet Tony and Coach Bennett, Dick Bennett, a couple of times, and they're like the most humble, normal people I've ever met. And it's good to see them have some success. Some of the other guys I root for would probably be like a lot of the mid-majors. Like I have a lot of friends that are coaches. Like I have a friend that's an assistant at NDSU. So I was rooting for them to beat Duke or anyone to beat Duke.
Oh, come on. Zion's pretty fun to watch.
He is fun to watch. I can't hate on that. He's ridiculous. He's a cheat code. So that's what I just like how coaches are and how they represent their programs, and with all the cheating and stuff going on in college basketball at that level. Definitely not at our level because we don't get paid enough. But at that level, it's something that who the guys are that do it the right way. And the guys that cheat and don't, you kind of root against those guys that cheat, I think, more than anything.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. Come on, guys. Who wants a Black Squeeze t-shirt? I feel like one of you does want one. 507-457-1615. We will be right back. And thank you so much for listening. And thank you again, Coach Kyle Brown.
Thanks for having me. It was a life goal bucket list thing I got crossed off my list. So
there we go.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Good to hear. We'll be right back. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi and Andy Alleman on KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR. KSMR, Real College Radio. Thanks again to Coach Kyle Brown. First thing Andy said to me when he left was, man, he is smart. I'm telling you guys, he's a great interview. He knows basketball. He is a basketball guy.
He's a guru.
Exactly.
He's a basketball guru.
Knows what he's talking about. And I was proud of myself for asking that zone question.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, if you got all these long guys, run a zone like Syracuse.
Yeah.
And you thought of it. Synergy.
See, look, synergy. I mean, but honestly, just look at that lineup.
No, yeah.
Yes, they don't have the 6'9" dude. They don't have the 6'10" dude that some teams in the MIAC do have, but they also don't have a 6-foot point guard. I mean, I guess KG. Well, but you look at David Lindstrand, he's a 6'3" point guard. So you put him at the top of a 2-3 zone, 3-2 zone, 1-3-1 zone. Well, I mean, you're not going to be able to
just think about the length. You got Eli, you got Jacob Bailey, Kareem can jump out of the gym. You got David, you got Caden. That's just off the top of my head. There's more guys. They'll have
Chilson, Rosner. He's big and he's long and big.
Beefy. You got James. He's the freshman.
James Conley.
Absolutely. He'll be contributing next year.
Yeah, this is comparatively to other MIAC teams. I don't know the numbers, but they do seem to me to be an average tall team, like an above average height team.
It's come a long way from even my freshman year. You don't even know. Like everyone was just short and we looked like we were fielding a baseball team that was playing basketball. That's what I would compare it to.
That's brutal. Well, speaking of baseball and things that are brutal, Professor Pedrick's baseball theory that I kind of alluded to earlier in the show. Professor Pedrick, Dennis Pedrick, is a first-year professor here at St. Mary's University. I had him first semester for principles of marketing. I don't have him this semester, but the people who do have him, one of which is Kyle Lichtenegger, who's coming into the show at 12:15. Actually, wow, it's already 12 o'clock. This is crazy. This show is going by very quickly. They had told me about Professor Pedrick's crazy baseball theory. So 507-457-1615 is the phone number. Call in and tell me what in the world is Professor Pedrick thinking? Tell me why he believes in this theory. 507-457-1615. I did ask him to come on the show. He said he's out of town this week. He'll be on the show hopefully next week to defend his position. This is going to be a two-parter, everybody. 507-457-1615. Tell me why this theory is in this professor's head. Now, Professor Pedrick says that the way to fix baseball, all of its problems, pace of play, low attendance, low viewership, the whole thing can be fixed with this one simple solution, and that is take away the home run. Take away the home run. He says move the fences in just a bit, make them higher, and say that if you hit a home run, it's a foul ball. He says that players are going to have to, put the ball in play more. There's going to be more defense. The game will go by quicker because there's no home runs. I think it's absolutely absurd. I don't know what you think.
No, it seems crazy.
Now, we think it's crazy because we don't believe in the theory. Now, this dude actually does believe in the theory.
He's bought into it.
It is his idea. 507-457-1615. Why is he thinking this? So you just think to me, what is he thinking? Like, what is going through his mind?
Do you want to take the position of you're against it, I'm for it? We
Yes.
can kind of simulate that. Okay. I would be for it because, one, it does speed up the game, and that's something that is a weakness of baseball. The games kind of tend to drag on a little bit sometimes. And there's going to be more action. Like, you're not going to be seeing guys like sailing balls out of the park because everyone's going to be fielding them. There's going to be a lot more plays. I disagree just because I think that it won't sell tickets, but I mean, it makes for a more active game.
Yes, it would be more active. There would be more going on.
Yeah.
There would have to be more defensive plays because a home run would be a foul ball. But by golly, the most exciting thing in baseball is to see that little white ball look like a golf ball go 500 feet and watch the big dude trot around the bases. Yesterday, I watched the entire Cubs game, sadly. Instead of watching March Madness, I sat down in front of the TV and watched the Cubs. Now, I'm a weird viewer because I'll do that every single game because I love baseball. But do you know what the most exciting part of the Cubs game was last night?
Home runs.
Kyle Schwarber hitting a 430-foot home run to straightaway center field. And he smacked it. He absolutely crushed it. You're going to change the entire landscape of Major League Baseball just for pace of play. Come on.
Another thing that came to my mind is that the pitching is going to be, I mean, the value of pitching is decreased significantly if that's how it's going to be, because it's not going to matter, I mean,
basically, you can launch a meatball up there basically the whole game. Because
I mean, there's still something to be said for striking guys out, all that. But I mean, the pitching, pitching value would plummet.
Absolutely. It to me, and he's probably going to say this, I think, it would feel a lot more like cricket.
Yeah.
Where cricket, that is exactly what it is. If you hit it out of the park, it's a foul ball. It's because they play it on a soccer field, and if you hit it out, it's a foul ball. But the whole field of play, 360 view, is in fair territory. That's just how cricket works. I think that's maybe where he's coming from. He's saying cricket is such an exciting game and so many people love it that if you make baseball cricket, more people will watch baseball, but then it won't be baseball anymore. 507-457-1615 is that phone number. I thought it was patently absurd, actually, when I heard this theory, and we'll see what he says.
Yeah.
I emailed him and I said, your outlandish theory. And he emailed back and said, I don't think it's that outlandish. So I honestly believe that he believes this is a great idea.
Yeah. All I know is that when I'm at a ballpark, I went to the NLCS game 1 where it was Dodgers Brewers, and it was like a one score game in like the top of the 9th. And we had, I think we had Josh Hader out there, and I just love the high risk of, okay, could you see Machado knock one out of the park, or is Hader just going to leave him swinging and miss it and the game's over? And that's what I loved. And I think you would take those two qualities away from baseball and you would lose viewerships.
We're just building our case against Pedrick. We'll see if he has stuff to say. That is something that I have been saying since I've been at St. Mary's, because for some reason, for the first time in my life, I've met people who hate baseball. Most people at this school, probably because Minnesota's team has sucked for a long time, and so has the Brewers. They've just been bad forever. Not anymore, which is great. Not really, but it's great for you. So many people around here absolutely hate baseball. They think it's boring. Anytime I talk about it, they could not care less. I've come across that person for the first time in my life, and it's made me think of why I love baseball and why I think baseball is better than other sports. Yes, other sports may be more exciting. Basketball, there's a lot more going on. Football actually has more downtime than baseball, but there's just more things happening on the field. There's more things to watch. And also you have, the scarcity of there only being 16 games. So that's, I'm not going to say baseball is better than football, because it isn't. The game, I think, is a better game than football, but in general, it's just a better league, obviously.
It is what it is.
To me, there is nothing better than the sport of baseball. It's the most fair sport. There are no turnovers. Everybody gets the exact same amount of outs. Everybody gets the exact same amount of innings. Everybody is playing in the exact same field with the exact same equipment. And like you said, every pitch, no matter who is pitching, no matter who is hitting, even if there's a pitcher at the plate, one pitch has the chance to change a season, to change an entire game. And yes, you have that in basketball, but only down the stretch. It's only going to last 2 minutes.
Yeah, and it feels like the mistakes are so much more magnified too. You know what I mean? Like in basketball, you turn the ball over. Oh, you can just go get a steal, go the other way, hit the three, and like nothing mattered. Baseball, if you give up a home run, that could have lost your team the game. Period. One mistake.
And there's, I hate to use the word scarcity again, just to describe baseball, but there's a scarcity of opportunity.
Yeah.
Every single out means so much, because you absolutely know that you have 27 outs. And when you get to that 25th out and you only have 2 more left, you know what you have to do. In the other sports, it's not like that. You do not know how the pace of play is going to go. You don't know how many possessions you're going to get. You don't know how many turnovers you're going to force. You don't know. But in baseball, you do. And that gives you a sense of urgency. And it leads to more strategy. If you're down by 5 runs in the 9th inning, you're not going to shoot for the fence every time. You're going to try and get on base. And then if you're down by 4, the bases are loaded, where are you going? You're trying to put the ball over the fence. Baseball is the most beautiful game to me. It probably isn't to you.
I do. I enjoy a good baseball game. I enjoyed them in high school. I see nothing wrong with it.
Okay, well, here we go. We're going to take a call right now. Hey, what's your name and where you're from? You're on the squeeze.
Hey, this is Rick from Waukegan, Wisconsin.
Hi, Rick. What's up today?
Hey, just want to get your input on some NCAA basketball. I'm a big fan of the team game more than the superstar player one and done, so I'm rooting for Auburn today. I was glad to see Texas Tech and also Virginia get in. Michigan State and Duke, it's kind of a pick 'em. I'd rather see Michigan State because I'm just an anti-Duke person. Looking for your thoughts on that.
Well, thanks for calling in, Rick. I don't really know if I know you or not. That seems like a very random call, but
You're from the same hometown.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of a weird coincidence there. No, I would agree with you. I think the one and done rule. I know when I see games where the Blue Bloods and the one and done programs win the games, and you see just the pure emotion that the other teams that weren't favored but were in a close game, you just see that pure emotion. I think that makes me want to pull for them too, because these are kids that are the one and done kids are going to go to the NBA, and they're just looking to make money. They're looking to spend a year in college and then head on out. But these other guys, I mean, you can tell they really love the sport and they put in all the work. And I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I love where the Final Four is going right now, but a Final Four will not be a Final Four if Zion Williamson is not in it, in my opinion. For the most part, yes, I love the team game and I like to root against Duke, but boy, is Zion Williamson fun. He is the reason that I am watching that game tonight over the Cubs game.
And he's the reason they won the last couple of games. I mean, they've been so close, inexcusably close too, to be honest.
I was just hoping that they would get knocked out because I thought that in the Central Florida game, a couple of calls at the end definitely went there. When Zion went in for the drive at the end, he put an elbow right in the guy's chest to get the shot off that he got a foul call on for the and one. And then on the rebound play where they got the tip in for the winning points, essentially, I thought there was a push in the back by the Duke guy to get position because the Central Florida guy had the inside position.
Yeah, there was.
I just felt that they got the benefit of two calls that were huge at the end of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. That had something to do with it. Thank you so much for the call, Rick. And stay tuned.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening. So I will say to that, just as a general rule, in my opinion, it's unfair to say that, you know, they lost because of those two calls, because there were probably two calls earlier in the game that no one's talking about that went for UCF. And that's just how it's the nature of refereeing and it's the nature of sport. Sadly, you know, nobody's perfect, but thank you so much for the call, Rick. I don't know. Duke, I normally dislike Duke on every level. Kentucky, freaking hate them. I just, all the teams that are supposed to win, I dislike them wholeheartedly. But in this case, Zion is so likable. He has not done one thing wrong. He hasn't said one word wrong. He's one of the most freakish athletes in the history of basketball. He's just fun to watch.
Well, first of all, for the viewers that are out there, that was actually my dad. So
you're not supposed to peel back the curtain, dude.
Sorry. Okay, not my dad. Yeah, I mean, he's just a likable guy. You know, I would agree with that, and he just plays the game with a beauty. It's so beautiful that he's out there just being a pure athlete.
Yeah, likable guy. Do you know who else is likable?
Who's that?
Mike Trout. Do you know why I know that?
Why?
Because of The Athletic. They did a baseball poll, an anonymous baseball player poll. They asked players all across the league to give responses to questions, and I'm going to ask you those questions right now. You're going to give me the answer, and we'll see if you match up with baseball players across the Major League Baseball.
Let's hear it.
That was a pretty bad segue, but we went from college basketball to baseball. I don't know how to connect.
No, it's no big deal.
Okay, don't look at my computer screen. Don't cheat.
I'm not planning on it.
When baseball players were asked who was the most intimidating pitcher in the game, who do you think they said?
Clayton Kershaw.
Clayton Kershaw did not make the list.
Really?
Max Scherzer was the top vote getter. Chris Sale, runner-up. Aroldis Chapman. And your buddy Josh Hader did make the list. He was in the others receiving votes.
Quick shout out to Hader, 9 for 9 on pitches and 9 for 9 on strikes.
The immaculate inning is what that is known as.
That was insane.
3 strikeouts.
That was fun to watch.
9 pitches.
Yeah.
All fastballs, by the way. Every one of them was a fastball up in the zone.
Straight gas.
He is ridiculous. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. I don't know why I just said it. We talked about it last week. You said that you went back and watched the show from last week and thought to yourself, what could you fix? That is what I need to fix. That's my verbal filler. Instead of saying or like or anything like that, I just say the phone number. I just say 507-457-1615.
Okay.
I'm surprised I didn't do it during the interview. I think I did it once, actually. I totally did it once. I just said the phone number out of nowhere. But 507-457-1615, that's the phone number. I don't know why I told you, but that's it. Okay, who's the most intimidating hitter in the game? Don't overthink it.
Aaron Judge.
No, what are you?
Mike Trout.
Thank
Mike Trout. Yep.
Runners up.
Aaron Judge is pretty intimidating.
Runners up, Aaron Judge, JD Martinez, Giancarlo Stanton. Who is the best defensive player in the game?
This one I don't know. I'm not too knowledgeable on baseball.
Nolan Arenado, third baseman for the Rockies.
Yeah, could not have told you that one.
He's won the last 6 or 7 Gold Gloves. So
Really?
he's a pretty good defender. Who's the most underrated player in the game?
Oh gosh, I don't know who.
Anthony Rendon, third baseman for the Washington Nationals. I feel like actually you should have asked me these questions.
Yeah.
Because I would probably have known them better, but I read the article, so it would be cheating. Who's the most overrated player in baseball? This one is probably the easiest one.
Giancarlo Stanton?
No, Bryce Harper, dude. Bryce Harper just got paid $330 million.
Okay, if you're looking at it from that aspect, yes.
Be an average WAR player of 4.5. I mean, he's Javi Baez. I'm not paying Javi Baez $330 million. I'm sorry. It's the most overrated player, Bryce Harper. Who's the we're gonna skip that one. Okay, this one is cool. This one is fun to look at. What is the manager besides your own that you would most like to play for?
Good
He's in the NL Central.
Yeah, I was gonna say
he wears goofy glasses.
Yeah, Madden.
His name is Joe Madden.
Joe Madden.
Now, which manager aside from your own would you least want to play for? Number 1, Gabe Kapler, the Phillies manager, but number 2, only 2% behind Gabe Kapler, Joe Madden.
Really?
So he is a polarizing character. You want to play for him and you don't want to play for him.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to look at. And then one more before we go to break. Kyle is sitting out there in the game room looking in. Very excited to get his Black Squeeze t-shirt like no one else is. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. That's how you are supposed to win that Squeeze t-shirt. Just nobody wants to come in. No, that's it. We're done. We're going to go to break. We're going to send it to break here. This has turned into a crap show.
It's okay.
We started with the microphone. I told Coach Brown,
okay.
I said 2 questions. The first 2 questions, which were, of course, the best questions for everybody viewing on the YouTube stream, I had the mic on mute. So things are just going great.
It's okay. It's all good.
We'll be right back. This show is going down the crap hole. 507-457-1615. We will be right back.
I didn't.
You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi and Andy Alleman on KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR. KSMR, real college radio. What's the best way to gear up for Townie this year? How about a night of running, dancing, and partying with DJ Charco? That is exactly what Light Up the Night 3K on Friday, April 26th is. A night to exercise with friends and support your fellow students. The event is free to St. Mary's students, and the run starts at 8 p.m., followed by a 9 p.m. DJ Charco concert. Dance yourself into Townie during this incredible event. Kyle, are you going to go to the Light Up the Night 3K and the DJ Charco concert on April 26th?
I don't know. We'll see.
You don't strike me as a guy who wants to go to a 3K and then a dance. And that's also the night before meet.
Yeah,
So,
there's
that's a
nothing
good
wrong
point.
with not going.
yeah, nothing wrong
Yeah,
with
night
that
before
going.
me, honestly, I'd probably just relax back home and just get ready for the next day.
Well, I mean, night before a meet, we haven't even introed you. I'm sure the listeners know who you are. This is Kyle Lichtenegger.
Well, yeah.
How do you say it?
Lichtenegger.
Lichtenegger. Okay.
Lichtenegger.
Lichtenegger.
Like a nagger.
Lichtenegger.
Nagger.
Okay.
Nagger.
Okay. I got
Be
it.
like an egger.
Okay.
like
Lichtenegger.
Egger.
Ager. Okay.
Lichtenegger.
It's such a hard name to say. I have a hard name to say. Andy has a hard name to say.
Yep.
It's okay.
Pretty German names.
Yeah,
Italian.
Italian.
And Russian.
But
My name's also Russian.
jeez,
Wow.
creepers.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've learned a lot about you already. This interview is starting off great. Kyle Lichtenegger is a junior here. He's on the track team. He's a record holder in 2 events, I believe. 3 events. He was a record holder in 4 events, but then Des beat him. And he's also a forward on the soccer team. Kyle, we're going to start off with a hard-hitting question. Which team do you like better?
Oh, that's a tough one, honestly. I don't know. Soccer's my favorite sport my entire life, but at the same time, track's so fun.
Okay.
So I'm just going to I can't answer that one, so I'm just going to go straight up. It's probably 50-50.
Okay.
It's gotta be a
the
50-50.
cop-out answer. That's okay.
That's fine.
That's the fair answer.
It's got to happen.
It
You
is a
know,
fair
you
answer.
should run for political
If you-
office one day.
Yeah, if you love both teams, there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
It's a tie.
So
Can't pick one over the other.
okay, see, this is gonna be good because we're just casual. You know, you're
Yeah.
you're our buddy. You know,
yeah.
this isn't. We just had Coach Kyle Brown on. We had to be all buttoned up and professional, and I was just talking with our friend.
There you go.
But we missed our first meet yesterday. It was canceled. How are you feeling about that canceled meet?
It's really bittersweet. So having that meet would be really nice, kind of get the rust off, I suppose, from not having a meet at all coming out of the last chance meet in conference for indoor. But honestly, I would also say it's sweet just because now we get a little break, and our first meet is in the cross, and
Yeah.
the cross always has great competition. There's no arguing that at all.
Host a good meet too.
Yeah.
Great facilities.
Yes, they have fantastic facilities. They know what they're doing when it comes down to hosting it, and it's always fun going down there.
Yeah, this might be a silly question, as I ask a lot of silly questions. Are you a warm weather sprinter or a cold weather sprinter?
Warm weather.
Okay, I don't know because
I
I like
don't-
jumping in cold, so I don't
If
know.
anyone ever says they're a cold weather sprinter, I kind of want to meet them.
I like jumping in the cold.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
That's-
See, jumping's different though. I don't
Is
know.
it?
Like jumping, you can. I don't know. Like it's so hard.
Cold weather sprinters are rare.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone wants
You-
75 and sunny.
yeah, I feel like I also like 75 and sunny, but I'm okay to jump in the cold.
I'm
Okay.
actually more of like a 90 sunny.
Oh,
and
yeah, I love
almost,
that
and
too.
almost no wind.
But remember, you have to keep your warm ups on.
No, absolutely. And that only helps. You just get even warmer, and then you're sweating by the time the event starts, and then you feel so good.
I know Neil's always likes to tell the story of Carl Lewis warming up, and the temperature every time just tends to get a little bit higher and higher. Oh, it was 77. Oh, what? It was 89. Oh,
99.
Numbers are all over the place. you know?
130 degrees. Carl Lewis still had his warm ups on. There.
Not dead.
Not dead at all. But last time we talked to you, you were a friend of the show last year before we gave out Squeeze t-shirts. I told you that you needed to come on again if you wanted one. So I know that you did want one, and now you're finally going to get it. But the last time we talked to you, you were dealing with some hamstring issues. Have those been alleviated a bit this season?
Yeah, so it's a little tight every now and then, but I've gotten through all of indoor with no problems at all. And the conference meet was when I was a little worried about it, but it ended up holding up, and there was no problems with it at all. So knock on wood, but I think they're kind of getting better. I think I'm just knowing how to deal with it better. rather than just
The preparation,
Yeah,
getting better.
exactly.
You were learning. Yep. Definitely.
So speaking of conference, I wasn't on the team yet again. I'm back though. I'm back and I'm staying. How did you finish out indoor conference this season?
Pretty well, in my opinion. So I added a new event with high jump. First meet I ever did it. I qualified for conference, and I was 11th, I think, in the conference. So that was pretty nice. But so I didn't score in that event, and I also didn't score in long jump, which is pretty disappointing considering I was, I think, 5th in the conference, and I just didn't jump too good. But it's not a big deal, I guess. Just kind of gotta overlook it. And then coming into the sprints, I scored pretty well in both, and I broke the 200 record at conference, 200-meter dash, and then I rebroke my previous 60-meter dash record. So overall, I would say it was a fairly successful meet.
So you hold the indoor 200 record, the indoor 60 record, and then
The outdoor 100 record.
outdoor 100. You are going for that outdoor 200,
Yes.
I'm sure, as well as the long jump. But now you got an extra competitor now that I'm healthy. So we'll see what
That
happens.
just adds to the fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Competition just pushes you.
I think all three of us have a very good shot at, beating that outdoor record this season. How fun would it be if at conference, all three of us beat the record, go 1, 2, and 3? That's my dream. I go to bed with that thought, in my head
For a
every single
second
night.
there, when you were addressing the three of us, I thought you talked about me. I was like, yeah, I would love to be second in conference in long jump.
Yeah,
But no,
absolutely.
it's our boy Desmond Stewart.
Oh, Desmond Stewart. Sorry. He
Yeah.
was on the show a couple weeks ago.
And that's the thing too, is that like all three of us, we know we can do those jumps. We know, it's just such a healthy competition, and it's not like any of us don't want someone, another person. Like if I were to break Dez's record, like in the indoor long jump, he would be, happy for me. And the same thing with you, and
Well,
same thing with him.
It's like one of those things where it's like, if you want someone to beat it, you want it to be one of your boys.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is that all the long jumpers were super close, tight knit. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome, actually.
Honestly, do you think we have a shot?
Yes.
The St. Thomas jumpers are tough, but do you think we all have a shot at going 1, 2, 3 in the MIAC? If we all stay healthy, man, we're all
Honestly,
7.
yeah.
We're all 7-meter jumpers, I think.
No, absolutely. Even indoor, I think we could do it too. I guess it's always because now, Desmond's going to be graduating, but come outdoor, I don't think it's completely crazy to think about.
Yeah.
I think we easily could.
As long as it's cold for me and warm for you. I don't know how we're gonna make that
That
work.
doesn't make any sense.
Maybe I jump and then I don't know. That was going nowhere.
So I got a question for you. Besides the St. Mary's track, what is your favorite venue to compete at?
Indoor or outdoor?
We'll go indoor and outdoor.
Okay. That's a tough one. I think outdoor, I would say lacrosse.
Yeah.
I feel like that's me. We were there like 3 or 4 times anyway.
Yeah.
Actually, no, Hamlin. Sorry, I changed that.
You like the Hamlin?
I've
venue?
never been at Hamlin when it wasn't beautiful.
Really?
Yeah. So honestly, I'm
Interesting.
gonna switch that to Hamlin. I just thought of that. Indoor, St. Thomas.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Oh yeah.
I would. Yeah. Okay.
I jump so well there. Every single time I go there, I just can't land it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Every time. Every time it's been 7-1 plus.
Yeah,
in
just a scratch.
meters. Yep. And I always scratch.
So close.
It's unfortunate, but it's only. Next year I just gotta land it.
Move back a little bit.
Gotta land
or do
So
something. I don't know.
Do you have any venue that you don't like going to? There's one that your
Oh,
least
God.
favorite.
Oshkosh.
Really?
Indoor.
That was brutal.
We
Tell
went,
us.
We went there one
Oh my
one
gosh.
year. Actually, one meet.
Yep.
And it was last year. And so the board is 18 feet from the sand.
That's crazy.
Ridiculous.
The whole first flight of jumpers
Didn't-
actually all scratched because they physically couldn't make it
That
into the
hurts
sand.
too, doesn't it?
Yeah. It was
Creepers.
brutal. Just for those of you who are not initiated in the track world, in high school, the meets or the boards for long jump are 8 feet and 12 feet typically. In college, they're more 4 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet. They're all close to the pits, and the pits are just super long.
Mhm.
But like you just said, at Oshkosh, 18 feet away. So
That's a
even
long ways.
a good jump for us, a good jump is 21 feet.
Yeah.
That's
21,
only
22, yeah.
that's only 3 feet into the pit.
Yeah.
So you have an average jump or a bad jump. I mean, you could seriously hurt yourself. And also the pit was only 15 feet long. It
Yeah,
was-
it's really, really odd.
No, I want to. Didn't someone have a really big jump there though? Didn't someone get close to 6? I want to say someone had a good meet there. Someone had a good jump. I want to say it was either Dez or one of you two.
So I jumped with Des, So I mean, it was like a 6'6", 6'5", I think.
Was it?
For
I
both
thought it
of
was.
us,
I thought it was
yeah.
higher. It was close to 7. I thought for one of you two it was.
I don't recall. I guess I know my jump was a 6'6", I think, or somewhat similar.
So it's been close. I think
Yeah,
it was
producer, go look it up. That's your job. Go look it up.
Yeah.
But so Kyle, what are you looking to do this season? What would be a perfect outdoor season for Kyle Lichtenegger?
Oh, I would say that the best outdoor season that could happen would be obviously qualifying for conference in all my events, which I guess I haven't had like necessarily an issue with lately, like in the past. But and 4x1, it's looking really, really strong. Honestly, my biggest goal is just to get that healthy and running that with like everyone healthy and finishing the race. So we did it at conference, and we were basically leading the entire event the entire way, which is pretty astounding because St. John's actually went to nationals in the 4x1, and they're in our conference. So, leading, and then I got the baton, and when running, and I just pulled my hamstring mid-race, probably 60 meters down. So I had to finish 40 meters limping across the finish line. Got 6th place still. So we scored.
Really? Yeah, it really still wasn't that bad.
No, like we still ran a pretty good
I
time.
think it
That
was like
just
44 or 45 between there somewhere.
and that just shows you, like, I literally limped the last 40 meters, and I mean, because obviously I had to finish it, but yeah. So getting that race completely done with, and doing it like correctly, good sticks, everything, that could be a dangerous 4x1, and then I just want to break the 200 record. That's like my biggest goal outdoor. And then I ran a 6.99 in the 60, which translates to like a 10.7 or something like that in the 100. So if I can just get that down, I think one more tenth, and that should be
It's
nationals.
very doable as well. It's very doable.
Okay, well, Andy, have you found that long jump from last year or
I
not?
have not dug that up. We probably won't get on the segment, but that's all right.
Okay, well, maybe after the break,
There you go.
before we have our SMU sports team draft and talk about the Cubs a little bit after the break, if you were in a SMU sports team draft, who would you take with the number 1 pick, Kyle?
Oh, SMU sports.
Yeah, SMU sports. You said that with such disdain.
No, I'm just kind of. What do you mean?
Like the men's basketball team or the volleyball team or the baseball
If
team.
you just picked one of them?
Yeah, like who would be your number 1 pick if you wanted to win a draft?
Can I say soccer?
You could say soccer.
Yeah,
Men's
absolutely.
soccer.
Okay, men's soccer. I would probably disagree just because you guys didn't make the playoffs.
All
But
right.
Bias.
hey, we did talk to Josh Balsiger. We talked to Robbie Sobzak earlier in the season, actually during the soccer season, and we talked about just how close you guys were in a lot of games against a lot of good teams. Do you want to comment on that?
Yes, every game, that we have lost, it's always been within reason that we could have won. St. Thomas is 4th in the nation when we played them this past fall, and it wasn't completely out of our realm to actually take that game and win it. We just couldn't finish. They're right. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think about, but yeah, every game was so close, and it kind of sucks. We lost Mateo, our starting center mid, so having him out with a knee problem, that kind of set us back a little bit, but we kind of figured it out. And yeah, I mean, not thinking back on it, that's pretty close every game.
Okay, well, next year, very exciting stuff. That's your number 1 pick. We'll see how Andy and I do after the break. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to Kyle Lichtenegger.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquesi, normally with Alec Rude, but right now with Andy Alleman on KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota. Translator K232CZ, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR. KSMR Real College Radio. I like to say it, but I'm totally lying to you when I say it's online at smumn.edu/KSMR, because it isn't. It isn't streaming online. It's only streaming online on YouTube under the channel name Anthony Pasquesi, Pasquesi. That's how you spell my last name, and that's the name of the YouTube stream. So if you want to watch us there, listen to us there, see our beautiful faces on that video live stream, YouTube Anthony Pasquesi. Thank you to Kyle Lichtenegger. Oh my gosh, it's so much easier to say his name now that I know how to say it. I need to ask.
Funny
people.
how that works.
I know it is funny, but he would just make fun of me for the way that I said his last name, because I've known him for 2 years now. But he would never tell me how to say his last name, even when I would ask him. So I had to ask him on the air so that he had to do it. So It's Kyle Lichtenegger.
Yeah.
Lichtenegger. That's
Lichtenegger.
So easy. Oh my gosh.
He said
Lichtenegger.
Lichtenegger.
Okay. 507-457-1615. We've had one caller. It was Andy's father, but nobody for the 16-second squeeze. I thought there was going to be some hype around the Black Squeeze t-shirt.
I need to compete, guys. Let's get it.
Yeah, I guess not. 507-457-1615. That's the phone number, but nobody wants to utilize it. So we are going to go to the much anticipated SMU Sports Team Draft. We did a draft last week. Talked about it a little earlier in the show. I absolutely murdered Andy Alleman.
I'll be honest.
But the reason I did murder you is because we kind of knew whoever had the first pick was going to win the draft, because Boston is basically the Golden State Warriors of that category.
Yep.
This category doesn't have a team like that. So this first pick doesn't matter as much, but we still have to decide who gets the first pick.
Instead of a coin flip, can I just defer the first pick to you? Will we do that, or do you want to do the coin flip?
Let's do the coin flip.
Okay.
Look at you trying to just change the show while we're on air.
I have some ideas.
Okay. Here we go. Call it on in the air.
All right. Tails.
So
number one pick.
You get the number one pick in the SMU Sports Team Draft with the first pick in the SMU Sports Team Draft. Andy Alleman, who you got?
I got the men's baseball team, just the baseball team, not the men's baseball team.
See, it's easy to do because every other sport has it.
My reasoning behind that, I know a lot of the guys on the team, and I see how hard they work. I see that their coach really gets after them.
Yeah, we'll answer it right when you're done with the answer.
Okay, and I think that's a really strong program. They consistently make the playoffs. They almost won the whole thing. They're the closest team to have done that. So.
Hey, what's your name and where you're from? You're on the squeeze.
This is Lisa calling from Old School in Forest Park, Illinois.
Hi, Lisa. Free advertising for Old School in Forest Park. What are you calling for?
I'm calling for the 16-second squeeze.
Oh, absolutely. Andy, get on out of here. Go turn that radio down in the hallway.
I'm out.
Lisa from Old School in Forest Park, Illinois. Do you understand how the 16-second squeeze works?
I do.
Okay, so you understand how it works. You have 16 seconds to name as many. I'm thinking of it as we go along here. To name as many European countries in 16 seconds. European countries. 3, 2, 1, go.
Prague, Budapest, Rome, Florence, Pisa, London. Seville, Madrid, San Sebastian. Nice.
Okay, that's it. Did I say cities or countries? I'm pretty sure I said countries.
Oh, I thought you said cities.
Okay, well, if I said, because you're the only 16-second squeeze caller, I'm going to give you a bone. You did say Italy, which is what freaked me out at first. And you also said Prague, which is a country, right?
That's a city.
Oh, Prague is a city. Okay, so you said one country, so you got 1 point there, but you said about 9 cities. So we'll say it's European cities and give you 9. Sound good?
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for calling, Lisa from Forest
All right,
Park.
Jamie says hello. Bye.
Okay, little bit of miscommunication there. Andy, hopefully you did not hear it, but Lisa had 16 seconds to name as many European cities as she could. European cities. 3, 2, 1, go.
London, Paris. God, I'm blanking. Prague. Rome. She's gonna win this.
That's it.
Yep.
That's 4 for Andy. So Lisa with a very respectable +5. She got 9 European cities. The miscommunication was I said European countries, and then she started listing off a bunch of cities, and I kind of didn't know what to do because she also said Italy, and I thought Prague was a country. So just a lot of miscommunication. We're good. Lisa from Forest Park, congratulations.
Yep.
Probably,
Shout
because
out.
no one else is calling. You're most likely going to be the first winner of a Black Squeeze t-shirt. 507-457-1615 is the phone number if you want to challenge Lisa from Forest Park. But
Yep.
she did interrupt our Smooth Sports team draft. Do you have anything else to say about the baseball team before I pick?
Yeah, so I just restated. I'm just going to restate they were the closest team to win the MIAC for any St. Mary's sports in the last couple of years. Since I've been here, at least, they've had guys that are consistently making the all-conference team as first-teamers, Willie Dahl and Ben Berkeley for those who have been here a while at St. Mary's, and now Jimmer Green, Cody Keel. You know, you got a couple of guys I think they're a really solid team.
Yeah, Andy Tett, Matthew Pachowski.
Yeah, there you go.
And let's just set the border, the guidelines for this draft. We're picking teams that have the brightest future, or maybe are the best team right now, not necessarily who has been the best team, but who do we think
and I
is
think
going to be the
I
best
think that they're presently the best team on campus, and they will be set for the future.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much to Scott Pasquazi. Shirts look good. Love the black. I also love the black. They're pretty cool. And thanks, Scott, for buying them all. So thank you for that. And then James Cave, as always, one of the most loyal listeners of the Squeeze. Good show, guys. Thanks, Molly and I enjoyed it. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thanks for spending a little bit of it with us today.
What is your second pick in the draft?
Yeah, with the first pick
Or the first pick of
or the
your
second pick of the first
draft.
round. Here we go. Don't be the driver. I'm the driver.
Yeah, okay.
You're the co-pilot. I am going to pick. Oh, I get 2 picks. This is why you wanted it. This is why you wanted it.
I did want it.
I'm going to pick the boys basketball team.
Reasoning.
Boys basketball team. The reason is not only are they my favorite team to watch, they also have the brightest future out of any team on campus. You've heard from Coach Fano if you've been listening to the show. You've heard from Coach Brown now if you listened earlier today. This team is young. They are exciting, and their arrow is trending directly up, 87 degrees up, from 1 win 2 years ago to 7 wins last season. A plus 400 season comparably to that last season, 2 seasons ago.
Yep.
They're competitive in every game. You heard Coach Brown say it. They have the second best player in the MIAC in Eli Cave. They have the all rookie player in Caden Freetley. Jacob Chilson, if he got more minutes, he was capable of that same title as well, all rookie player. They are my favorite, personally my favorite team on campus, even more than the men's track team. I like the basketball team more. They're fun to watch. I love the coach. A little bit of a homer.
Yeah.
He went to my high school, but they're just fun to watch.
Yeah. No, I agree. They're if you would have been around here before, you've seen how far this program has came. Not only since you've been here, but even before that. So I think that's a pretty solid pick.
Thank you. And with the first pick of the second round. Now you got me all screwed up. First pick of the second round, my personal second pick. I'm going to take, this is tough because I want to take that team, but I think, I think they might drop. So I'm going to pick the boys hockey team.
Okay.
Men's hockey team. Boys, men's. I don't think it
Men's
matters.
hockey team.
Men's hockey. Okay, whatever. Men's hockey, men's basketball, men's baseball. Men's hockey. I don't know much about it, but I hear Alex say it all the time. They're super young. They made the playoffs this year. They're only losing 3 seniors. They're going to be great. That's really all I have to say about them. I just picked them so that you couldn't. Andy, with the second pick in the second round, who do you got?
Women's basketball team. Consistently one of the best programs around. They seem to, no matter what, they cycled a couple of coaches in the last 3-4 years. They've had a lot of players coming in and out, and they just seem to turn out wins. They seem to be consistently making it to the second or even third round of the MIAC playoffs. A rock solid program.
Absolutely. I believe they've made the playoffs 6 of the last 8 seasons. But this is my only but. This is the only reason why I personally did not pick them. They're losing their best player, Brandy Blattner, and I don't necessarily know who yet. Somebody will step up, whether that be Abby Winter, Rachel Kettle. Somebody will step up and fill those very big shoes that Brandy Blattner has left. I just don't know who it's going to be yet.
I think a really good chance for someone to do that is Shaylee Vissel.
Yep.
I think she's built like Brandy. She plays like Brandy. I think she's going to be pretty good.
Okay, hopefully she can stay healthy.
Yeah, hopefully.
And then, yes, I would have. That's the team I would have picked.
Yep.
I was hoping that you
It's
were
okay.
not going to go that direction.
Yeah.
But hey, sometimes you get outpicked. So
it is what it is.
with the first pick in the third round of the Smooth Sports Team Draft, Andy Alleman, who do you got?
Okay, I'm looking over the teams. I'm gonna go with the Dark Horse women's tennis team. They I think they're currently sitting 5th in the MIAC or 6th. They're in the playoffs as it stands. They got a young roster. They got a lot of freshmen and sophomores on the team. I think they're built to win now and they're built to win in the future. I don't know a lot about tennis, but they're pretty solid.
Yeah.
Throughout, and not only just their young team, they also got talent that's juniors and seniors too. So a good roster throughout.
Yeah, tennis. What the heck is tennis? I don't know. We never talk tennis on this show, and we
Yeah.
have a tennis player who's normally the producer of the show.
I just think they're a dark horse. So.
Okay, sounds good. I don't know if that's necessarily a great pick, but yeah,
They're going to be in the playoffs.
they're going to be in the playoffs. But you have to look. It's also a popularity contest because we're going to put them
Well,
on Twitter at the
I
Squeeze
could argue
4
that.
on Twitter. You can't just pick the teams that are the best. You got to pick the teams that you think are going to get the most votes. So I'm peeling back the curtain a little bit. But hey, yeah, I will be posting that poll on Twitter at the Squeeze 4. Make sure you vote on it. We had 24 votes on the last one. Let's see if we can get up to 30 votes on this one with the first pick and the second pick in the third round of the Smooth Sports Team Draft.
Yep.
It is quite a mouthful to say. I am going to go with I want to do it. I think I'm going to save it for my last pick because I have 2 picks in a row. So I am going to go with the women's hockey team. Women's hockey team
That's a good pick.
is basically the same as the men's hockey team in terms of their production this season. They were both the last seed in the MIAC playoffs. However, they are losing a few more seniors than the men are. Women's hockey make the playoffs very consistently. Coach Greg Moore. Coach Bill Moore is his father. He's the men's coach. Coach Greg Moore is doing a lot of good things. He's got a great beard. He looks awesome in his suit every single night. My pick is the women's hockey team.
That's
and
a good
then
pick.
with my last pick, I got the Squeeze has some men's track followers, so I'm going to hit us up with the men's track team is my 4th and final pick. They got this really awesome dude. His name is Anthony Pasquesi. He's a great long jump. He's a great long jumper. I'm not a homer. What are you talking? I have no bias whatsoever. He's a great long jumper, great teammate, great smile. He's got a great voice. He's also super humble. And also, no, a men's track team, very excited to be on that team and happy that I got them in the last pick of my draft. But with the final pick in the Smooth Sports Draft, Andy Alleman, who do you have?
I'm going to go with the women's volleyball team.
Yes, that is a team that lacked in production this year, but is
they consistently we've talked about we're looking at the present and future. They have a lot of young players on the team. They're going to lose a solid amount this year, but I think that they got some people in there that are capable of filling the big shoes that are being left behind, and they're going to step it up. And on top of it, they've been a consistently good team in the past. So
yeah, I agree. Sadly, because I do cover the soccer teams so consistently, I didn't make it to a single volleyball game last year. Felt kind of bad about it, but comparatively, would I rather be in the gym or outside when it's nice out? I'm going to go outside and watch some soccer.
And we will give a shout out to the soccer teams. They're both young, up and coming programs, but we'll see where they go.
Yeah. Also, the women's track team is always very exciting. Sadly, Becca Duke wasn't joining them this season. I think we would have probably picked them if Becca was on the team. Same with swimming and diving. They have two great teams.
Softball.
Golf teams, softball. All these teams, we love them all. We love all of you.
Yeah.
We just want to win, so we didn't pick you.
We want to win that poll.
Yeah.
I got to get redemption this week.
And I said it last week to Donnie. He's the one that has to be, rose-colored glasses, nice to all the teams all the time. Me and you, we can be heartless. I mean, we can just rip into these teams.
If we want to.
We could. We don't do it very often.
No.
I don't think I've ever done it. I think the closest I got to was last week when I said the softball team's not going to do anything this year.
We'll see.
Yeah. 507-457-1615 is the phone number. We're going to send it to break here. We only got one more segment. I mean, it's 12:47, so we're coming up on the end of the show. We're going to talk about the Chicago Cubs and their year of reckoning. I don't know if you've heard about any of this stuff or if you listening have heard about any of this stuff, but there's some crazy things going around in that Chicago Cubs clubhouse coming straight from the top, Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer. We're going to talk about it after the break. 507-457-1615. Lisa with a very respectable +5. Let's see if anybody can knock her down and win the first Squeeze t-shirt, Black Edition. That actually kind of sounds cool, Black Edition.
Yep.
It's like an album, like a new
It's like
album.
it's like the Twitter night mode.
Yeah,
kinda like
Twitter
that.
night mode. Everybody
go.
says it's better. So, hey, once you go black,
Never go back.
we never go back. We will be right back. Look at us. What a segue.
There you
Thanks
go.
for listening. We'll be right back. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi on KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR, KSMR Real College Radio. I'm trying. That's the one thing that I'm trying to say as quick as possible. I think I'm getting good at it.
You're getting good
I
at
just
it.
need
Yeah.
to articulate and just talk as quick as I can.
Oh,
like
yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
rapper. Okay. What's the best way to gear up for Townie this year? How about a night of running, dancing, and partying with DJ Charco? That is exactly what Light Up the Night 3K on Friday, April 26th is. A night to exercise with friends and support your fellow students. The event is free to St. Mary's students, and the run starts at 8 p.m., followed by a DJ Charco concert at 9. Dance yourself into Townie during this incredible event. The Light Up the Night 3K is brought to you by Residence Life. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and in the name of spreading awareness, Res Life has partnered together with SAC and KSMR to make this event a special night for St. Mary's students. According to studies, 66% of college students experience sexual harassment. Help end the statistic. The first step is awareness. Join your fellow students for a special night at the Light Up the Night 3K, April 26th. It is going to be a fun event. Andy and I are in that class that is
Yep.
hosting the event, putting the event together. And I'm a marketer, clearly, because I have a radio show. So
Yep.
they kind of knew where to put me.
Yep, definitely.
And Colin Stair, manager of the tennis team, good pick, Andy. Looks like you're going to get a vote there from Colin.
Shout out Colin.
Lisa Pasquazi, stop ripping on tennis. Sorry, it's what I do. It's what I do. Tennis. Is it even a sport? I don't know.
Oh, hey now.
And then Nick Larson, who was on the show last week, adding fuel to my fire for the CC teams. He is the cross-country coach, so just
Good.
bulletin board material.
Good. We're here to present that.
Yeah.
We want to help make our teams better.
Yeah, we're making our teams better. We're holding you accountable, Coach Nick Larson.
Tough love, Nick.
And then Andy said during the break, he said his girlfriend is on the soccer team, and he didn't pick the soccer team. So I don't know how that's going to go over. And then I thought to myself, it's not like 8 of the women's soccer players followed the squeeze and are going to notice that their team did not make the draft. So maybe not the most popular idea to do a Smooth Sports draft.
Fuel for the fire.
I guess fuel for the fire. Exactly.
There you go.
Who really talks about Smooth Sports other than us? Nobody. So they need somebody to, put up on their bulletin board.
Absolutely.
Here's a perfect segue in. Something that the Cubs lacked last year was that bulletin board material. And Theo Epstein took interviews with players, front office people, and coaches, and they have put together a plan of how this season is going to go. I'm just going to read the article by Patrick Mooney and Sahadev Sharma from The Athletic. I'm very excited about The Athletic, by the way. I purchased a subscription, and it's very fun. I'm going to read so much more. So,
Great.
Mom, Dad, there you go. I'm finally going to read again. Andy, I'm going to read this article about what the Cubs are going to do this season. And you don't really care about the Cubs that much. You don't really,
just not a big baseball
love
guy.
baseball.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to focus on the baseball part. I just want you to tell me if you think this is a good idea for a professional franchise, professional team to do.
All yours.
Holding mandatory batting practice 4 or 5 times a week. This change is to give players a group activity to build their pregame routines around. Young players have also been encouraged to document their routines, writing down what they do before day games and night games, and being mindful of their preparation when they are starting or not starting.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, I don't know how young the Cubs are. I don't know how young of
Very young.
of team.
All
Okay.
of them are young.
I mean, that's something that helps guide a team and helps build a culture of accountability.
Yeah, I also agree with it. The one problem is they hadn't done this the last 3 seasons. Batting practice was never mandatory, so we'll see how that change affects them physically.
Yeah.
To go from not batting every single day to then having to do that may change some things, may lead to some fatigue late in the season, so we'll see how it goes. But something that I love about it, Niels Anderson, the head track coach here at St. Mary's, we had talked about him when he was an athlete. He had a notebook, and he took notes of every single race, every single practice that he ever had. So he, by the time he was a senior in college, knew exactly what to eat. He knew how much sleep to get. He knew when to wake up. He knew what weather he loved the most. So just documenting and getting to know yourself as an athlete is really important. So I do like that.
That is huge. Yeah.
Releasing the lineups on a series-by-series basis. This is quite different. The Cubs are hoping to reduce the anxiety of certain players and keep them from feeling like they will be on the bench the day after an 0-for-4 game. While the lineups were usually predetermined and routinely sent out to the group the night before the game, the Cubs sensed players were pressing to get the big hit that might change Maddon's mind. Even though the manager and the front office do not believe in the hot hand phenomenon, the notice should also allow players to work ahead, take extra BP, or focus on strength and conditioning.
I like the idea. I think that's a good idea too.
Yeah, it is different. Not a lot of teams do this. Not a lot of managers do this. This is Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer tying the hands of Joe Maddon and giving him way less power than he's had in the past.
Is that something that you think is an issue, that Joe Maddon has had too much power?
Yeah, I think you've already seen it in the first 2 games this season. Pedro Strop coming in when the Cubs were up by 10 on opening day. What's the point of bringing your closer in up 10? I don't know. Then he gets hammered for 2 hits. Mike Montgomery's put in then, and he gives up a home run. And
shakes their confidence.
Exactly. He is a tinkerer. This is why a lot of players like playing for him and a lot of players don't like playing for him. He's a great people guy.
Yeah.
He's a terrible in-game manager. So this is something that Theo Epstein is doing to limit him from hurting himself, basically.
Yeah. Fine.
This one I love. I don't know why more teams don't do it. Circling 10 or so trap games and challenging the group to win all of them. The hope here is that the team will be treating, for example, a getaway day in Cincinnati like a Sunday night game at Wrigley Field. Maddon's meatloaf mentality, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, was fine when the team started 25-6 in 2016, but it's not in style anymore.
Well, what I think that you hear about trap games a lot. But not a lot. But I mean, you hear about them every once in a while. I think this is a good way to make sure that those trap games don't result in losses. Because as you remember from last year, I mean, the Brewers and the Cubs were separated by, like, they had the play-in game.
They were tied.
I mean, and think about how many of those trap games that they might have lost. They could have made the difference. Like, it's crazy to say, like, 162 games, but when it comes down to that few games, every game makes a difference.
Yeah, every game counts. You hear about it once a year in football.
Yep.
The Dolphins game for the Bears, everybody said that was a trap game, and you know what? They lost it. When you go in and you're going up against a team that you should win, you're better than.
Yeah.
It's natural to let up a bit.
Well, and think about that game. Like, that cost the Bears a first-round bye.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of things, could have
Could have
gone
been
differently. Just one little opportunity here and there, and that's the same in baseball. One extra win above replacement by Chris Bryant, if he was healthy for one more month last season, the Cubs would have won the division by 3 games.
Yeah.
There's just and limiting yourself by losing those trap games is something that you can prevent. And I absolutely love this. If I was a coach, which eons ago I thought that I wanted to be a coach, now I want to be a radio host.
Yep.
Things change. But if I was a coach, I would implement this every single season, because even the Cardinals, the men's basketball team, a team that is at the bottom of the MIAC, at least standings wise, they walked into McAllister. It was a trap game. They lost. They should have beat McAllister twice this season, and they split with them. Same thing happened when they played Carleton.
Yep.
Same thing happened when they played. I mean, it didn't happen when they played Gustavus.
Yep.
These teams that they knew they were better than, they fell to the notion that they were going to beat them.
And it's hard. I know, especially when it gets to be a long season, it's hard to really get up for every single game.
Yeah.
But emphasis on circling the trap games, be like, all right, we really got to bring it for these games. It helps, I think.
Yeah, and just one more thing on this. It's almost 1 o'clock. This is crazy. We are going to do 3 hours in 2 weeks. Pretty excited about it. But one more thing about this. Look at track season.
Yep.
Look at just you and me, you and I, whatever it is, getting up every single day and going to practice, from captain's practice to late May, and then having to do it during the summer as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, think about that, but think about that being a baseball team. They have to play as many games as we have to practice.
Yeah.
So think about how hard it is for you to get up and go to practice and feel like you want to be there.
It takes a different breed of athlete.
Exactly. It takes a different breed of athlete, and it takes something new. It takes something to reinvigorate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Once Niels and the coaching staff gets to come in, we're all really reinvigorated for about 2 weeks, and then it kind of is monotonous again.
Yep.
And then the first meet comes around and it's awesome, and then it gets a little monotonous, and then conference week, So for the same thing goes for professional athletes, same thing goes for the Chicago Cubs. You're going to have those awesome games. You're going to have opening day, but then you're going to have 7 games until your next national broadcast.
Yep.
You need to show up and go to work and do, just be consistent all 8 of those games.
It's their job.
It is their job. It truly is. And our job is over.
That it is.
There we go. That was another pretty good segue. We're finally we're getting this thing going.
There you go.
Next week, we will be back on the air 11 to 1 next Sunday. It will be our last 2-hour show, and it'll be Andy Alleman's last turn in the producer's chair, as Alec Rude, a tennis player, will be back sitting in that producer's chair for our first 3-hour show in 2 weeks. But next week, 11 to 1. And guys, Lisa, +5. She was the only caller. She didn't have a contestant. She wins that Squeeze t-shirt, the first ever winner of a black Squeeze t-shirt. Congratulations, Lisa from Forest Park, Illinois. And let's just check the chat one more time, see if nobody talked to us. So thanks for listening. We will be back next week, and we hope you are too.
See you next week, guys.